By now, I'm sure you have seen plenty of Noob To Pro videos. On day 1 they start with Stereo Madness, and by day 30 they beat 9 circles or some other hard demon. Well, I'll be doing things a bit different. Currently, my hardest is 9 circles, and I'll be documenting my journey all the way from 9 circles to beating a list demon. Along the way, I'll be sharing tips and tricks so you guys can progress as well. As I haven't been playing for a while, days 1 and 2 were mostly for warm-up. During these days, I beat At the Speed of Light and Speed Racer, 2 easy demons which took no more than 300 attempts each. These levels were mainly for fun, but little did I know only one day later the real struggle would begin. You see, in Geometry Dash there are 2 main ways to progress. Number 1 is the ladder approach, which is almost like climbing a ladder. You take small steps and beat harder and harder levels until you eventually get better at the game. Number 2 is the jumping method, which is when you skip several steps and go for a level much harder than your previous hardest. This method can usually take weeks, months, or even years, but in the end it gives you a huge increase in skill. On day 3 I would decide to jump to Magma Bound, insane demon 10 times more difficult than anything I've done before. As expected, the progress went slowly, but throughout the week I continued playing the level, getting runs like 35 to 55 and 25 to 40. Also, I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I was not able to click fast enough in some of the parts, which is why I wouldn't recommend this as the first insane demon. During week 2 I continued playing the level regularly, aiming to get 50 to 100. Even though the level felt inconsistent, I got this run quicker than expected. Week 2 was also when I decided to switch from using my mouse for clicking to using my keyboard, which is probably the best decision I made during this challenge. Getting 50 to 100 was good, but the level still felt boring and inconsistent. It was like I had the skill to beat it, but I was held back by RNG and clicking speed, which is why I decided to drop the level. And what do you do when you can't beat an insane demon? Well, logically you jump to an extreme demon. This video took a long time to make, so I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It's free and it takes only 2 seconds. Week 3, also my first week on Cataclysm. For this week my plan was to get 64 to 100. The first thing I did was to practice the ship part, which is 64 to 74, which is the hardest part of this run. Later on I also got 76 to 100, which is a pretty easy wave part. This didn't take too long. Now all I had to do was to connect these parts, which happened on the last day of week 3. I was quite happy with this progress, only 1 week in and I had already gotten 36%. But there is a problem with this. You see, 90% of this level's difficulty comes from the first half. Looking back at the footage, I chose some of the worst levels to play. 1 week ago I was complaining about how Magma Bound was boring and inconsistent, and now I'm playing a level even worse. Week 4 I continued playing the level like usual, only this time my goal was to get 50 to 100. Attempt after attempt I got closer to getting the run, but also grew more bored of the level. After 10,000 attempts and what felt like ages, I finally got this run, but this wasn't enough. Playing this level got more boring day after day, and after only 2 weeks I was barely playing 30 minutes a day. In this situation, any other person would go for an easier level to make the game more fun again. But I decided to jump to Sonic Wave. Thinking about it now, I probably had a concussion or something. Also, when I started going for Sonic Wave, I downloaded Mega Hack. You may be wondering what Mega Hack is. Well, Mega Hack is this tool with a bunch of different mods that allow for easier practice. The one I'll be using the most is called Smart Start Position. This one automatically sets game mode, speed, size and border for a start position. Instead of manually having to place the start position, edit object, choose my game mode, choose my gravity, choose my speed, I can just put it wherever I like, click save and play, and it will automatically do all of that for me, allowing for much quicker practice. Before we get into Sonic Wave, now would be a perfect time to share a tip with you guys. You see, Like any other game, this game takes time to get good at. You probably watched YouTube or TikTok and seen people beat insanely hard levels in a low attempt count. And this might be demotivating at first, but you have to look at the positive side. If you consistently keep playing and aim for improvement every day, in no time at all you will be the person beating these hard levels. With Sonic Wave being a top 300 extreme demon, my progress obviously went slower, which is why after a month my best runs were 76 to 100 and 68 to 100. Even though this level was so much harder, I still put in the work. During the first month I used about 20,000 attempts and got significantly better at the game. The game mode I improved the most on was obviously Wave, as this was a wave heavy level. Getting 68 to 100 took ages. My main problem was upside down wave, and luckily for me this part was full of it. However, this was not the real problem. The real problem was the level flashing black 50% of the time and making gameplay invisible. For the second month I wanted to step away from wave and instead practice the pre-drop, which is ball, cube and chip. I got some decent runs like 20% and later on 29%. This chip wasn't too hard as I was already pretty good at chip, although I had some other problems. The part I was struggling on was right at the beginning of the level. You see this yellow orb? It's one of the hardest clicks in the level. The times I got past this click I would usually get 10, 15 or even 20%. But this wasn't the only problem. You see, this level is filled with choke points. One of them, in my opinion, is the ball. It had some difficult timings and usually I would die at 25%. Getting 29% marks the end of month 2 for this level, but also the end of part 1 of this video. If you enjoyed watching, make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 2.